We just escaped from our country and crossed a lot of countries for a peaceful life.
This morning, Title 42 is over, but there are still strict new rules for asylum seekers and consequences if migrants don't follow the law. Thank you for being with us here at the 6 a.m. hour. I'm Evan Nurani.
I'm Eric Connor. We do want to get you caught up on all of the developments from overnight. A lot happening here on this Friday morning. Now, the U.S. once again enforcing Title 8, which means asylum seekers have a chance to present their case, but the White House rolled out new restrictions, so it's not so easy to gain entry into the U.S. We're going to take a closer look at the differences here in just a few minutes. Also this morning, a federal judge is stopping the government from releasing migrants in Border Patrol custody without court notices. The initial goal was to reduce overcrowding in their facilities. The order expires in 14 days, but the Biden administration is expected to appeal. Meantime, the ports of entry in San Diego remain open for travelers, though officials warn you should plan for possible closures and longer wait times.
And speaking of those wait times, let's take a look. The current wait time at the San Ysidro Port of Entry, 110 minutes for the general line and 30 minutes for the Otay Mesa Port of Entry. But do keep in mind that it may actually be much longer. And that's because Customs and Border Protection doesn't account for the time that it takes to drive through the streets of Tijuana to get to that starting point at the San Ysidro Port of Entry. So sometimes those numbers can be slightly off. We're working for you this morning to cover every angle of this crisis. Neda Iranpour is along the border fence. Chris Groh has more on where migrants are being taken in San Diego. And Dana Marie McNichol is tracking changes for the app that asylum seekers have to use to book those appointments.
We begin with Neda Iranpour for a look at the situation right behind you there. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, here we are seeing still this large group of migrants, hundreds of people that are currently stuck in between two fences. So I want to show you what's going on. More people are starting to wake up. We're getting a little bit more daylight here at this 6 o'clock hour. And many of these people lined up along the fence are hoping to get their phones charged. You also see another line forming at this fence line where people are getting some of the donations that have been brought here. So people have brought fruit, food, medical supplies. I saw Band-Aids, Pepto-Bismol, children's Tylenol being dropped off, and water bottles. Of course, a lot of people need that. Blankets as well. That's something that's in need here because of these pretty difficult sleeping conditions. For many people, as we've been covering this day after day, they've been here for a week or so. Many have said they've traveled long distances, thousands of miles, and now they're stuck here. So I want to explain where exactly we are. We're just north of the Mexico border, and what you're looking at, this group of migrants are stuck basically between these two fences that is considered U.S. land. So at this point, Border Patrol has been coming through. Yesterday, we saw them come in, and we also heard overnight, about 2 in the morning, there were a couple humanitarian aid workers out here. They saw Border Patrol take a group of 60 to 90 people out of this location, but still hundreds more people are left. We don't know where they were taken, but presumably to be processed so they can make their cases heard and seek asylum. At this point, the people who've been waiting here for days, stuck out here on the dirt between these two fences, well, unfortunately, with the end of Title 42 for them, this means they may be completely disqualified from seeking asylum. So I want to explain that. Now that Title 42 has ended, this is something ACLU and migrant rights advocates are hoping does not happen. They just filed a lawsuit last night to try to prevent this. The current policy, now that the Title 42 has ended, actually disqualifies migrants who cross the southern border without permission from getting asylum if they did not first ask for humanitarian refuge in a third country, such as Mexico, on their way to the U.S. So many people had stopped off in other countries, and we're being told now they needed to have asked for asylum in those countries first. And if they did not, then those found ineligible could face swift deportation back to their home countries or to Mexico and face a 5-year ban from re-entering the U.S. Those who attempt to re-enter the country illegally could face criminal charges. This is all according to the Biden administration with their new rules that are now in place. Again, the ACLU filing a lawsuit against this, saying that is not a humanitarian way to handle these migrants. As you can see right here, this has become a human rights issue. I mean, you see a lot of people in these really tough conditions, a sign of desperation that we've seen day after day, night after night. And in speaking with them, even this morning, there was a woman, Tunisia, from Jamaica. I asked her how long she's been here. She's been here 3 days. As I asked her about her journey, her eyes started welling up. We've seen that over and over again. Anytime we ask people, how did you get here? How are you? They really get emotional talking about it. So that's something that's been hard to watch and see unfold here right along our border, but that's the reality here. Of course, we'll be staying out here to keep an eye on things and let you know what customs agents are doing about this. For now, we do want to send it over to Chris Grow, where you've been tracking where some migrants might possibly be going to. Chris, what have you found out?
And Netta, I think oftentimes the big question that a lot of these people that are trying to cross into the U.S. are wondering is what's next through every step of the process. What is next for them? Well, oftentimes when they are able to get into the U.S., the next step for them is trying to find just a place to stay. And that's where shelters like the one that we're at here in Mission Valley step up. They're oftentimes operated by nonprofits like Catholic Charities or Jewish Family Service. In fact, I've toured a facility like this one in the past, in which, again, a lot of these migrants will stay for a short duration of time before heading to their next legal proceedings as they try to, again, manage the wave of immigration proceedings here within the U.S. But they'll be able to access resources, transportation potentially to their next hearing, and more importantly, a safe place to stay. Now, just yesterday, in the wake of Title 42 ending, we saw several buses filling up with asylum seekers at the border, then making their way to the hotel here in Mission Valley. Some of them were transported to other places, and some were seen leaving in taxis and in cars. Oftentimes, services within some of these shelters will try to reunite some of these migrants with family members that they have in the U.S. Now, as for a statement here, we do want to put this up on your screen. This is from Catholic Charities. I want to read a portion of this because there has been some talk here about how long it is that some of these migrants will stay at these shelters. It says, quote, between San Diego and Imperial County shelters managed by Catholic Charities, we can house around 1,500 individuals per night. Asylum seekers average between 0.8 to 1.6 days at our shelters in San Diego and in Imperial County. They also went to point out that this shelter here specifically in Mission Valley is not at capacity, at least as of last night, though of course we are going to continue to keep a close eye on that. Now, we were just telling you again about this many questions that these migrants face in their journey. One of them has been how it is that technology can help them, how it is that they can help them in the process, or how is it becoming a burden for them. And so there is that new app that we've been talking about, and Dana Marie McNichol is live with more on that app and how migrants are using it. Dana Marie?
That's right, Chris. Thankfully, we have somewhat of a positive update for the CBP One app that has been creating a lot of issues for those migrants who say they've experienced glitches, even crashes of that app. But now they say they're expanding the number of appointments each day and also prioritizing people who have been signed up for a while to go first. Now, I want to break down what this means. So the CBP One app will transition to a new appointment scheduling system, making appointments available for 23 hours a day instead of at a designated time. This allows for more flexibility and access to scheduling systems. CBP will also increase the number of appointments by 1,000 each day. Right now, all appointments become available at the same time. But with this update, non-citizens will have enough time to make requests and confirm appointments at their own convenience. This is to help reduce time pressure and dependency on internet and speed connectivity, which has really been a problem for so many migrants who are still even asking for their phones to be charged. Another major issue is dealing with smugglers. To cut them out of the app, they're prioritizing appointments for those who have been waiting the longest. Now, it is important to note that non-citizens must still be physically located within central or northern Mexico to both request and schedule an appointment via this app. We do have our CBS 8 reporter Richard Allen in Tijuana speaking to a man who finally got an appointment.
Pero por lo menos ya me pusieron un tiempo al cual yo tengo que esperarme.
And translating that in Spanish, they say they finally got a time where they know that they're going to be processed. So this is something really important for those migrants who feel like they're getting somewhat answers because for a while the CBP One app has not been working. They also announced that starting May 12th, they're hoping to add more appointments per day. For right now, I'm Dana Marie McNichol here at the Pedwest Port of Entry. I will send it over to Netta Arampur, who is just a couple of miles west of us at that border wall.
Dana Marie, thank you. And yet you mentioned those phones needing to be charged. As you can imagine, for people who've been stuck out here, that is hard to do. So that's what we're seeing time and time again. As soon as some people start to wake up, they line up right here on the fence line asking to have their phones charged. And that's what this group is doing. They're desperate for that. We see them with their phones and their cable cords out and trying to do what we can as well to help them charge those phones, because that CBP One app is so critical. They're all being told to try to make those appointments that way, which right now, with them being stuck here, there's really no other way for them to get their phones charged. It's not like they have outlets out here in the dirt. You can also see the terrain. There's a big hill. So many people on Mexico side came through that fence line and came into this area. And this is where they've been kind of held here because border agents have not come to move them into other facilities. So this has become somewhat of a makeshift shelter. Obviously not comfortable conditions, as we've been reporting, with the trash bags and the mylar blankets. And we've seen young children still this morning out here. So not all of the families with the young kids have been taken away from this location yet. So, of course, we will keep our eyes out here watching for all the activity, and we'll be sure to keep you posted on what's going on here at the San Ysidro border. For now, we'll send it back to you in studio.
Yeah, it's been great to see some of the humanitarian aid worker organization groups heading out there, doing what they can to help out. We saw some of the boxes of food there. So many people just feel desperate to help these people who are in a desperate situation.
Yeah, and it looks like there's more there, more food in terms of the boxes there than yesterday. Is that what you've seen?
Yeah, we've been reporting on that. More and more boxes. People dropped off donations. They've asked us how they can help, and this is really the way at this point. Water bottles, food, blankets, medical supplies. People are dropping off a lot of that this morning. Even over the past 30 minutes, we've seen a few people bring in big crates of water, and people are lining up waiting to pick those up as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that reporting, Netta. We'll be checking back in with you here shortly.